I'm Ed Lovelady, and I'm standing on the hill overlooking St. Francis of Assisi Church and School in the beautiful city of UPI, Philippines. I'm here from the Diocese of Olympia, Washington. My purpose of my visit, one, is to see the tree farm and the project that we share in our diocese that we call the Caring for All Creation project. And I came to look at that because we're sponsoring that in the Diocese of Olympia by being aware of our own usage and our own carbon footprint. And we're working to try to reduce our carbon, to evaluate it and try to reduce our carbon footprint and to financially support the project here. Because these trees, not only will they reforest the lands around here that have been clear cut in past years for timber, but it also the rubber trees provide income for the families, and these are designated generally for families that are associated with the church. Some of the congregations will plant these trees in land property that belongs to them. Other will be given to families to plant, to reforest the land around where they live, and also to provide them an income when they harvest the latex from the rubber trees and also the coffee beans. And I have to testify that it's good coffee. I had some while I was here. The other part of my purpose for being here is to get an idea of the life and ministry of this part of the Diocese of the Southern Philippines, and to take back the story, not just the project that we're working on, just the idea of us being aware of our carbon footprint, trying to reduce it and sending money here, but also to see the impact on what we're doing together in the lives of people. It's one thing to reforest the land, and that's certainly a good thing to do, but it's not just reforestation and caring for the community. It's a way to increase the life standard of the people here, to help them provide for their families, to help them have a better environment to live in. And so I wanted to see some of those stories, and I've been fortunate enough to visit several communities, congregations, parishes, missions, outstations, and people have warmly welcomed me, and we've had a chance to share stories about what our ministries are like, and I've witnessed ministry in action. I witnessed an area where 2 priests are taking care of 30 or more congregations, something that's a completely foreign idea for us in the American church. And so our work together is not just about planting trees, it's about making people's lives better and extending the mission and mission of the church. So I've been impressed with that. We've had opportunities to talk about our mission and our ministries, how they're different and how they're the same, and we have things that we can learn from each other. There's an excitement and a commitment to ministry here by lay people for leadership in the congregations. There's an excitement and energy with the young people, with the children, the organizations for the men and the women, how they share and promote the leadership of the church and assist the clergy, because there is a serious shortage of clergy in this part of the world. One of the places I want to share the story about my visit is on the way back from visiting other congregations back to UPI. One of our last stops was at St. Catherine's Mission Outstation. And it was just a small worship space, a building that's largely open with pews that don't have backs, just a platform to sit on. But I was greeted there by a group of people, mostly women, and a large group of children. And it was just a wonderful experience, because knowing that this is a place that's an outstation that's served by a priest that's only able to be there maybe once a month, and that the life and ministry of this congregation happens because of the lay people. Happens because of many of the people that I was able to meet. This small congregation out on kind of the side of a hill out in the country, and the young children were there, and the group of children and their excitement and their welcome. Of course, they always have food. I've been overfed since I've been here, and that's been a part of my experience. But it stands out in my mind because of the children. And of course, I have a soft spot in my heart and in my ministry for children's ministry. But there, this group of women and this group of children had just finished their vacation church school, and so it was such an impressive thing to see such a small congregation with that large a number of leaders and children together to learn about God, to look to study the Bible for their vacation church school. So that's one of the places that stands out in my ministry. And so I will go home with that impression in my mind of that very small worship space, the very small place, no parking lots, which we always have to have parking lots for our churches, but that group of energetic people and energetic children who had been there sharing ministry and teaching the children, and knowing that the life of that congregation happens because of those people that I met on that brief encounter. Another impressive part of what I found, and I talk about the power and the ministry of the lay people here. I visited 2 deaneries. I'm in the Deanery of UPI right now. There's 4 priests in this deanery and about 90 congregations. And I visited the Southern Coastal Deanery, and there they have 2 priests who are taking care of about 30 congregations. And when I think about it in the context of the American church, I think about my own diocese. We have about 104 congregations, and I think, I may be wrong, but I think counting the retired clergy, we have about 200 priests in the Diocese of Olympia. And so it's just such a great difference in the number of clergy and the number of congregations. And it can't help but think about the power of lay leadership in the life of the church, and the fact that the church here is growing in leaps and bounds with that lay leadership because there's such a shortage of clergy. And so I think that's one of the things that we can learn for the American church is the power of that lay leadership, and try to find out how we can re-energize that, because we have that in our history and in our tradition, but somehow we've lost it. And so when we think about the church in other parts of the world, the church that we see growing, the numbers growing that have more baptisms than burials, unlike some of our churches. And much of that's done by the power of lay leadership and the responsibility of the clergy who have to ride motorcycles because the roads are impassable to get to serve these communities. And so it's such a great difference, but it's such a powerful mission and ministry. And I think for us in the American church, it's a great lesson that we can learn and re-energize our own lay leadership, because the possibilities just seem to be boundless with that kind of energy and that kind of leadership from the lay people.
Is